Hello, welcome to Badger Beer Report for 6/3/2025. I am here with our purveyor, I'm using this word a lot today, of brewery knowledge. Or, I don't know, did I use that word right?
Yeah, we'll go with it.
Go, guy.
We're just going to roll with it. We're live, so we're going no matter what, How are you doing tonight, Greg?
I'm doing good, man, because we just had a great weekend with our Dodge beer.
Man,
But we can't talk, no time to talk about that
yeah,
because otherwise we'd be here for 4 hours.
we
So
got a lot to get to.
yeah, let's jump in. We have a big announcement, man.
We do. Well, we have a lot. So, I mean, we've had a lot. We talked about doing this show last night, and I'm glad we didn't because we had more news drop today. Not this, but stuff we'll hear later on. But this was arguably the biggest news drop that we've had in a little while, honestly, to be, because we have not had a true brewery opening in Milwaukee in quite some time. And it's not just that it is your everyday brewery. Lombardi Brewing Company is moving into the former City Light space. And so there's a lot of moving pieces here that make this a very interesting story. One, obviously moving in, to the City Light space. We obviously covered when they closed. It was very unfortunate losing a brewery that had that. It was a wonderful space there along the river, really cool historic building. Did not know if anything was ever going to come in. There's a picture of it there. I'm assuming that they will be replacing that big lit up sign that you can easily see if you are driving along 94 into or out of downtown Milwaukee. It currently still says City Lights Brewing Company. I would imagine that will change soon enough. But anyway, so Lombardi is not just a name that they threw on there. It is co-owned by one of Vince Lombardi's grandsons. So I believe he's living in Tennessee, but he has his name on this, and John Lombardi, that is his name. And then the other folks associated with this are from D1 Brewing up in Stevens Point. And apparently they want to get the ball rolling on this pretty soon because one of the articles stated that they are hoping for an August opening, which, August is now 2 months out here, Greg. And I know that it was probably pretty well ready. I don't know how much they have to do to the interior, but that's still a pretty quick turnaround from initial announcement to opening it up. But we will see. As a big Packer fan, for those that don't know, my son's name is literally Lambo. My basement is painted green and yellow. Anytime that there's a Packer theme around a brewery, you could better be checking it out. An interesting note, though, if you look at the logo, it does have the MKE on there below the name Lombardi. And up until recently, when they made this decision, it actually had the same logo, but it said Green Bay. And that is because Lombardi Brewing formerly was doing some little contract brewing. I believe they actually established, was it 17, 18, 19? It was something like that. And then they were contract brewing, I believe, in the, 21 to 23, making a couple different beers. I believe there was a lager in there, maybe an amber. I can't remember off the top of my head. But they were looking for a location in Green Bay was the plan, which, makes sense up there. They're already up in Stevens Point. Lombardi Brewing Company would probably play pretty well in Green Bay, even more so than it will play well here in Milwaukee. But none of that ever came to fruition. And then they started looking again, the article says, more recently for a spot. And that was around the same time that City Lights became available. And here we are. Lombardi Brewing Company apparently on their way to opening their doors here in Milwaukee inside a building that many Wisconsin and specifically Milwaukee craft beer fanatics are very well versed in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, first of all, I think that, it feels like their initial plans are a little bit ambitious. That's just my idea. Because it's a really big space. But this is exciting and fun. And I've never been to this space, but Joe says nothing but good about the location and other people. So I'm excited about a new brewery. Hopefully this all works out.
Yeah, well, and I mean, we still don't have details on, exactly if they'll be brewing there right away. I would guess not, right? Because it's a big system we know there at City Lights. And the initial article said they weren't planning on distributing at least right away. I would guess that may change because I can only imagine the number of people that would want to take a 6-pack of Lombardi Lager up to Lambeau Field to pregame. But I know, I believe as we talked about, it's like a 30-barrel system there at City Lights. They maybe are just going to be brewing at either D1 or somewhere else and bringing it in. That's just all speculation. We'll have to reach out. I know we're trying to maybe get into contact with somebody to get some more details and talk with them. Because there were several articles that came out, but the one article actually did have a conversation with the folks there. So we will see. This will be obviously one that you will be hearing about again, I am sure, between now and probably the next time that you see us. We will have an update on Lombardi, would be my guess of some kind.
Yeah, because Joel wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah.
On to the next.
Well, and this one, Greg, you can kind of take the ball on, because this is your stomping grounds now, and a brewery that you're very well familiar with. Obviously, I've familiar with them as well, getting to visit them and have had many of their beers. But this news officially dropped about 3-ish hours ago, I believe, 3-4 hours ago. And that is Youngblood Beer Company has broken ground on a new location in DeForest. So, Greg, why can you just tell the folks a little bit more about, I know this has kind of been in the works for a while now, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's been actually it was announced. I believe we talked about it on when we had it was the end of 2023 for Badger Beer Hour, and they announced that they were trying to break ground early in the spring of this year. Apparently that never happened, so now they broke ground early. I'm sorry, it was supposed to break ground early 2024.
Yep.
And now we're breaking ground early 2025. Right up the street from me here. And I'm just very excited about this. I believe, it says here, it's going to be a big beast, more beer, more events, more hangouts. The subdivision is very walkable. They're building a whole bunch of things, a whole bunch of apartment complexes there, and so it's going to be walkable. And one of the houses in that my goodness, in that space there near where they're building this brewery, one of the houses went for $1 million. So there's money in this neighborhood, and there's going to be a lot of people and walkable things. And I don't know, Youngblood really, my analysis real quick is that their main place is in King Street, which is right, you can walk out and see the capital of Wisconsin.
Yeah, very cool location.
But it's really not a neighborhood type location. It's really more of an office kind of space where people work and then they leave. So this is really them being able to have a neighborhood presence outside of the North Street one, which is really more of just a little bit of a tap room that they share. So this is their own space in a neighborhood, and I feel that they're going to be able to, have that neighborhood reach and a neighborhood pub feel there that they really don't have in any other space. So and I can show y'all right here kind of where it is compared to the brown icons are where they're at now, North Street and King Street, and then the stars where they will be. And as y'all can see, it's out of town. For y'all not familiar with Madison, but you can see it's still a little bit out of town. And it gives them a little bit more space. We are working on the details of how big a brew house they have and all that, but it's a nice little sprawling place. They'll be able to make what they want to make, and it's going to be pretty interesting to see what's going on here with this one, Joel.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I know we talked about earlier when we were chatting about this, DeForest, if we go back to that map here, DeForest, there really isn't anything, if you look, Waunakee is kind of close up there. That's where, where Lone Girl is located, Octopi, those folks. But other than that, Sun Prairie's got a couple, but DeForest itself does not. Oh yeah, that's right. It's just one now. That's right. Yeah. So there really isn't a ton up that direction. So it is going to be kind of tapping a new neighborhood area, like you already kind of discussed. So yeah, I'm anxious to see, as you mentioned, the details that come out on this one as we get a little further down the line.
Yeah, and I'll have some of my own pictures because it'll be very easy to go. Actually, so that'll be fun. And staying in here before we get to our next news piece here, staying in Madison area here. Yesterday I spoke to Trevor Easton from Alt Brew, which is right down the pike here a little bit. from where I'm at, about being the only gluten-free brewery in Wisconsin, being only one of 20-ish, and it's not even 20, it's more like 18 or 19 in
Yeah.
the whole country. And just talking to him about how I have been impressed about how the quality of the taste wise of their beer has really improved over the years. And actually, you will see, I think you will see in this podcast, y'all, that Trevor agrees with me. But there's a couple reasons to that, and y'all will have to check out the podcast. It says 55 minutes here, but it was funny because when we ended it, we both said, wow, that was 55 minutes, because it just went so fast. It was a free-flowing conversation, and I learned a lot. And Trevor was able to to talk about the different things misconceptions that people have about gluten-free brew.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's great. One thing that we like to highlight are the breweries that are providing some sort of, whether it's a product or experience, something that is unique that they bring to our state's craft beer scene. So I think this is a really cool interview that we're able to do.
So y'all can find that on Spotify or badgerbeerreport.com. So now we're going to get to the one bit or a couple, maybe
Yeah, I
one
think
bit
we
of
got
bad
two.
news that we have.
Yeah.
One bit of bad news.
So the first one is from Bloomer, and funny enough, this was one that we didn't feel like too terribly long ago that we were covering a more exciting venture for them. Bloomer expanded. I can't remember what month it was when they opened up in Eau Claire. Do you remember the month? I can't recall off the top of my head.
I thought Landon told us it was April or May last year. It was.
Okay, has it really been that long? Oh my goodness. Okay, I thought it was more recent than that.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, but anyway, so Bloomer, based in Bloomer, Wisconsin, they have made the decision to shut their doors, and their doors are now actually shut. Their last day was on Saturday, May 31st, in Bloomer, and I believe as well as the Eau Claire, because Eau Claire was just a tap room located downtown. And yeah, I was not able to visit either locations. I know Landon would probably be a good little guest to have on right now, to give a little more insight into Bloomer Brewing Company. But it is always a bummer when we lose a brewery, especially a brewery that was in kind of this small market, in like a place like Bloomer. Here, May 25th. There we go. So that means that, so less than or just about a year ago, I guess now. So yes, as I said, having a small community lose their brewery is a true bummer. We will see. I'm guessing that will be it. We probably will not hear anything else. It does not sound like they are planning on reopening or rejuvenating in any way. But do you have any thoughts on this, Greg?
No, but it brings me a little. I think it should bring a lot of people pause when we have the excitement of a lot of expansions as we continue to talk about.
Yep.
They could be perilous, is what we have to remember.
Because I mean, speaking from experience, we've seen that with several breweries around Wisconsin. The last couple years, is that opening up new tap rooms means that you're going into new markets. Oftentimes, you may not be as ingrained into that market as you are with your home market. That obviously means that there's a lot more costs associated with running all these different tap rooms. And if something goes awire, it can cause, the domino effect. So, yeah.
Yep. And Bloomer, for those who know, Bloomer opened their tap room in 2013. So they went 12 years. They went 11 years, y'all, before they expanded. And they went 1 year with the expansion. And now we don't have Bloomer. So those are just the facts. Y'all can deduce whatever y'all need to deduce from that. But
yes.
Well wishes to the owners, and y'all be, up north, y'all still got some good places. We don't have to get into that, but y'all still got some good places up there, so y'all be fine.
And speaking of up north, this is even further up north. This is Round Man Brewing Company. And now I can't remember the name of the town.
I'll get it.
Spooner. That's right. I was thinking Bloomer, Spooner. I knew it was something that's similar. It's right there. Yeah. Building a Spooner. So this is kind of an interesting one, because this is not a full closure like what we just discussed. They've been a brewery there for 7 years inside the same building there in Spooner, but they are closing the brewery. Well, not closing the brewery, but they're closing that taproom location. However, it says that they are not going away in its entirety. They are still going to be making and selling beer and distributing it. So it says apparently they also have like a Strongman Smokehouse location. I'm assuming that must be like a sister restaurant type thing maybe going on in Trago. But either way, it says that Roundman Brewery beer will still be around, but not with a Roundman Brewing dedicated space and tap room. So for those that keep track with us with our data points and our numbers, what that essentially means is that up there, Roundman no longer counts as just a regular brewery. It moves into the other category because you will be able to find their beer out and about. They are still going to be brewing beer. They just will not have their own permanent location. I don't necessarily, we use the term nomad brewing. I don't know if they're just going to have one specific location. They'll be going to be brewing all the beer, if they're going to be doing different spots or what the case is. That information was not given in this Facebook post. But either way, we wish them all the best up north there. Hopefully they continue to make and produce great beer for the communities up there.
All right. So it says our beer will continue to be brewed and distributed from our Strongman Smokehouse location in Trago.
Okay, so they must have a system there then.
So
I missed that part when I was reading it. Okay.
Yeah, and I think this is I think for Roundman fans, I think this is good because again, it sounds like it's going to be the same place. They're not contracting. Having to move the beer.
They're not having to change where they're because obviously when you change where you're brewing, you if you like the beer, something can be tweaked and then it's not the same beer anymore. And so Roundman fans, I think you can be. It's obviously still never a fun thing. If you do live there in Spooner to have that place closed, but hopefully you will still be able to get your favorite Roundman beers for a long time to come. Because like I said, they've been around for 7 years. So obviously they've been able to garner a decent following, I would assume, up there in Spooner.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about the Strongman Smokehouse, but it sounds like a place that I would like to hang out in. Maybe I'm wrong. But if their beers are there, then basically this is the new tap house is what I'm feeling. So
we'll see. I guess we'll have to. We may come back to this one. Let's see. We'll add this to our final slide. Our things to keep an eye on after this show, because I think that's a good point. That if this does become like where they're brewing and serving all their beer, even if it's not by name, we'll figure it out. Again, the other category is just nice because it's a catch-all, Greg. If we're not sure, we can just put it in the other category and move on. But anyway, so speaking of new places for beer fans to go to, so Angry Minnow just opened up their new location on Main Street in Hayward. So they are in the same town, and there's still, I would say, some confusion. I messaged them and did not hear back because people were asking when they posted their post, a couple months ago now, or in April, they were like, oh, next month, can't wait to open the doors to this place. And it was a picture of the now new tap room. And someone asked, like, they were asking, like, well, are you keeping both locations? Like, or are you closing, whatever the case may be. And they never replied to any of them. And then they just out of the blue just dropped this little video walkthrough that they are now open. Looks like a nice space there right on the main street. Looks like it's probably a better location than the former spot. But in the post, like, somebody commented or asked, like, hey, so is the other place going to be open? And they said something along the lines of, well, not this summer, not this season. So I don't know if there are plans for the other space still. They are, Hayward is not that big of a town. Like the two places are not that far apart that it would seem odd to have two different tap rooms, but maybe it's a thing where they just brew in one. I don't know. But either way, looks like a great space. Hoping that their first couple weeks here are going very well. As a fisher, as a guy that likes to go fishing, love the logo. That's always been one that I've actually had my eye on. Just have never made it up that far. But yeah, do you have anything else to add for that one, Greg?
Yeah. Well, not really, but at least a lot of times when a brewery has to move, as we saw with Round Man and other things, big things can change maybe. So, this is a good one that it was seamless for them.
Yeah.
It seemed like, and we'll get some, hopefully we can get some reports for them, or actually, hopefully we can talk to them if they are returning your calls. But hey, if they don't, best of luck, Angry Minnow.
And so here we have what is you asked me what we were talking about this Pups and Purrs for Pints event.
Look, I'm like, why? Who cares?
Well,
Like, I didn't mean who cares, but I was like, wait, what
yeah,
is this?
this isn't your normal brewery news thing. Well, here's the thing. So this is an event that was created by Fond du Lac Beer Company. And for those that have been avid watchers of the Brewery Report and of the previous Badger Beer Hour know that we have been following Fond du Lac Beer Company for quite some time now as we followed their progress as they were building out this brewery, becoming what will be the first and only brewery there in Fond du Lac, which is very exciting for the community there. And we've been kind of waiting. We've seen posts of the interior. We've seen posts of them brewing beer, and we still have not gotten an opening date. And then all of a sudden they start creating these events, including one here for June 28th. And Greg, that means that's later this month. And so someone commented, I see you're posting events. Does that mean your opening is coming soon? And they replied, and this was now like probably almost like a week ago. It's like, yes, is what Fond du Lac Beer Company said. Now, they still have not posted any openings, which, the 28th, that means that we're about 3.5 weeks out from when this event would be. So I would assume that the next time you hear from us, we hopefully will have an opening date for Fond du Lac Beer Company, is why we were talking about Pups and Purrs for Pints.
Yes, and we've reached out to them, and they have said that they will get back to us soon when they are ready. And I think they said that they might get back to us before they open. So if we hear anything, y'all, we'll let you know. But this is imminent.
Yes, very, very excited for this one. Like I said, anytime, especially for a community the size of Fond du Lac, it's pretty crazy that they have not had their own brewery. So this is hopefully going to go very well. And I know that, I'm sure they are very busy here as they plan for everything for their doors to open.
It's not easy going to a brewery. Mm-hmm.
So here's another one over by your neck of the woods, Greg. One that we've touched on previously, Hop Garden expanding to Belleville. And it looks like the tap room is coming along there. They've got it looks like they got the tap lines, all the handle stuff going on there. No opening date yet. And then today they posted about their hop yard there in Belleville. So that looks like a really neat little location there. I'm assuming that, I don't know, is that because that doesn't look like it would be adjacent necessarily to the tap room. Would that be separate then? You may know the lay of the land a little bit better down there.
It's close, but it's not.
Okay, so it's not like some of the places where you can it's like essentially adjacent. I'm thinking like a Hubbleton is like that, I believe.
Yeah,
where you can basically walk by there. But okay.
Yeah.
Says they're growing garlic too, and also rhubarb and stuff. So they're gonna have all sorts of food there. Looks like they partner with a Sugar River Country Bakery is what it says in that post. So this is one of not a major update. Hopefully we get more coming soon, but we just like to include any of the the little benchmarks along the way as we await these breweries to open up these locations. And this is another one. So this one though is a little bit different, as we've discussed. Brewed Omen. So you'll notice in the logo in the center there, if you're watching, it says Brewed Omen Tasting Room. And was it today or yesterday? All the days blend together. But either way, they just announced that they had a member party and announced that they are rebranding to the Brewed Omen Brew Pub. And they even have their new signage up already. I think this move makes a ton of sense because, as you can see on the left-hand side, they are brewing now, or going to be brewing very soon. They're hoping to receive their state brew pub permit very soon. All the equipment looks to be in there. And again, for those that maybe don't remember or, first time tuning in, Brewed Omen was a craft beer tasting room in Hartford. So they had a bunch of different craft beers that you could go in and drink and sample. And they just recently announced, and they've been around for several years now, but they just recently had announced that they are now going to be brewing some of their own beer. Hence the rebrand to the Brewed Omen Brew Pub. So this will be one that I will be checking out hopefully shortly after that opening date is announced.
Yeah, this one I feel it's logical to be very optimistic about, given their footing that's already there, and
Yeah,
they already are a neighborhood pub. If you see any of their social media, I mean, they just got events
they
all
got
the
stuff
time,
going on,
and
Greg.
they got people already. So I think is this going to be easy segue for them to just push their own beers out of that, and it'll just be wonderful.
I agree. I hope that, it seems like the fact that they're located downtown there should be a good location. And I will hopefully be able to report live shortly thereafter. One that I unfortunately won't be able to report live from when they open is Boulder Junction Brewing Company. The folks way up north there that we have been covering pretty extensively. And I can tease that I will be doing an interview with the folks up there very shortly. So, be on the lookout for that to drop here. And, the interview is not taking place yet. So don't expect it tomorrow, but it's coming. But anyway, they continue to make good progress on the construction, looks like. Not necessarily the most exciting part, I would imagine, but the septic system was installed. They got their tap tower. So pieces are clicking. And I will probably get a lot more good information when I talk to them coming up here later this week. But I know this is one that you're excited for, Greg.
Yeah, because I talked to the owner Ian on the phone, and we kind of set up our podcast thing. But I may be going up there, or hopefully maybe able to hit it when it opens. So I'm really excited about that. There's just a lot of really good things going on. I suggest that y'all go to their Facebook page or their Instagram and just like them, just to observe. And you never know when y'all are going to be up north. It's just always nice to do that pre-scouting. Yeah. And it just seems like this is going to be a fun one. So we will definitely have more on the podcast side, and maybe we'll have more me having some boots on the ground. So we'll have more. We will have more on this one, y'all. But we're looking at it. They are looking at a target of late July, early August. There's a big Boulder Junction festival that they need to be open for, is what Ian told me. So we will hear more from Joel. And on that note, we can segue to what's going on next. Oh, this one had us kind of running around.
Yeah, you can take the handles on this one, Greg, because this one, I know we sent the email to Speedy, and I'm sure they were just like laughing at us, but whatever. So, you can take this one, Greg.
Yeah, so we're kind of nosy here, and we're geeks, and we kind of like read into a lot of things. And one of the things is that Delta Beer Lab became a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and they put it on there. I'm pretty sure they put it. Oh no, the chamber put it on and said, "Hey, we're welcoming Delta Beer Lab to our Chamber of Commerce." And we're like, "Wait, why are they doing their Chamber of Commerce?" Or we just automatically thought expansion because that's what everybody's doing. But apparently, they're expanding up there for sure. But they're just taking over a whole bunch of taps, basically, Joel.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. That's cool because Delta Beer is great. I've been telling y'all it's upgraded recently, in my opinion, and everybody has their opinion, but it's always been good. But now I believe it's almost great, especially in the Madison area. And is this going to be nice for talk about going up north? This is short north for us in Madison. It's not far north like Boulder and Spooner. But anyway, we will be able to get you'll be able to get Delta Beer at 4 different places. They have a punch card, and they have all kinds of different things. You can earn a free t-shirt if you hit all the spots. It's one of those things. It's fun. And yeah, what's going on, Joe?
No, I was gonna say it looks like it's 6 places along Lake Wisconsin there. So
I'm sorry.
No. It's all good. So yeah, beer and Bowie's Bar Crawl is the name of it.
And looks like a summer thing, Memorial Day to Labor Day. You can check Delta's social media for this. But if y'all are going up north and y'all want to do a little pub crawl, and y'all probably doing this pub crawl anyway, from what I know about Wisconsin drinkers, I know a lot. So yeah, this is a great way for Delta to put their reach out there, but not actually go through those processes of doing that whole big expansion thing.
Yeah. Again, we were just being nosy, Greg. That's what we do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you gotta love that.
So here's another one that we're continuing to follow, and that I'm getting more and more excited about this one. I don't know how you're feeling, Greg, but I am really thinking this is going to be something pretty neat there. So Gnarly Cedar continues to work on their location move. So they will no longer be with the winery there. They're going to have their own separate location. And it looks like it's, starting to come together. They're hoping for the new space, it says, to be open it says late July, early August. So, we're starting to get closer to that. This is, again, it's going to be in Wrightstown, and it's going to be right on the Fox River. If you're looking at this, it may be hard to see in the picture, but on the picture there below the logo, if you look out those window cutouts, you can see they are right there on the water. And that just looks like that is going to be a beautiful setting for the brewery to be in.
Yep.
Alrighty. And thank you for that, Greg. And, but anyway, yes, we will hopefully have more on this as we get, like I said, that's about, should be not more than 2 months out, but we'll see. Obviously, as we know, things happen. But yeah, I'm excited. I have not had their beer before, but I've heard good things. So this will be one on my radar as soon as they open their doors.
Let's go.
So this one is just a quick little update because I like to give a little shout out to these breweries that are seasonal. Clipper Brewing, way up north in Bayfield, up there by the Apostle Islands. Just recently, this past weekend, opened up their doors for their seasonal.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to show my screen here.
Okay.
It's not working.
Well, I'll keep talking about Clipper. So it is way up north there. I have not been there, but it looks like a pretty sweet little location there in the tiny town of Bayfield. Bayfield is supposed to be beautiful. I understand why it is probably seasonal. Probably gets pretty cold, and I would guess they have a little less tourism in the winter months. But I believe, did Bill say, are they located above like a fishing tackle shop? Is that what he said? I can't recall.
Yeah, it's a fishing shop, but y'all can see where that is.
Yep. Hard to get further north than that in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's harder to get further north than that. Yeah.
So excited for them. Wishing them the best during these summer months, and hopefully someday I get up there to go to Apostle Islands and I'm able to stop into Clipper Brewing.
Amen. One we've been following a bunch.
Yes. So here's one. Yes, we are waiting for the news just to break on this. I feel like it's going to be coming soon here. Brewfinity has a lot of their stuff kind of in place for their Pewaukee tap room. This is another one that you're going to be able to see some water from. That and Shattered Glass. And I mean, we're going to have water reviews for days around the state, it looks like, with our breweries. But they had, painting was done, put in lights and speakers, beer cooler had arrived, bar layouts locked in. And this was, probably a weekish ago, maybe. So gotta be, I don't want to speculate and say it's going to be within a month or so, but I would think that they want to get the ball rolling on this still while summer is happening there. It seems like it's a prime location for Pewaukee. So yeah, excited. This is one that I hopefully will be able to get out to check out shortly after they open as well, Greg.
Yeah, I don't know anything about them, so that means I need to.
Yeah, maybe it's not, I don't know if it's exactly halfway, but it's close enough. You could come make a little, I think based off of the views, I would say this is going to be the location to visit over the original Oconomo Walk. Now, none of there's anything wrong with it, but the Oconomo Walk one is kind of weird. You kind of loop back into like an industrial area. I think this is going to be the primo location with the views and the settings. So,
all right.
And here we go. We got Vault 202, and they are now hiring, which is always a good sign. And then just today, you shared, it dropped, that they are brewing some collab stuff. I don't know if you want to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. You could see here real quick. They are, as you spoke, Scott has a, extensive networking.
Yep.
And he knows, a lot of people everywhere. So it looks like here, he, brewed with G5. And then what was I can't read.
East Troy. Oh,
East Troy. And then but the week before or 2 weeks before, he brewed with G5. So it sounds like they're building their portfolio of brewing for when You know what I mean? They're ready to go. So they'll at least have these two beers probably
Mm-hmm.
ready. Because again, they have a good job, Scott, of Vienna Lager. We're here with
Mm-hmm.
that one. But as we
And a
know,
Mexican
Joel,
lager.
yeah, and as we know, those lagers can sit for a little bit and they'll still be
Mm-hmm.
really nice. In fact, sometimes the longer they sit, the better they get. So I think. But anyway, point is that I think that these are two, beers that we will see once Vault opens up here in Appleton. And I just wanted to show y'all real quick. I made a little map today of
Great map, Greg.
all the Appleton breweries that we have, or at least in this area here. And then you could see that the dark green icon is where Volt's going to be, and then right to the left of that, y'all, is you see a yellow icon. That is a McFleshman's and Appleton Beer Company, because they're so close. The two of
They're
them are right
block
there.
apart.
And
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, you could see. So then you could see the other ones that are there, and then right up the street, go further left, you'll see where the new Ope is going to be next year.
Yep.
So you can see the concentration. Foxtown is right there. Timber Tap is over in Kimberly. There up is what is that? What is that?
Hop
Hop Yards
Hop
up
Yard.
there.
Yep.
Yeah, and then down is the Stone Arch Brew Pub.
And then I
So
mean you're cutting. I mean Nina. I mean with Nina stuff down there
yeah,
too.
I
Like
cut out
we.
Lion's
Yeah,
Tail
but
and all that.
But
Yeah.
I mean, but it's just to show you. I mean, there is, and you're not that terrible far from, where Right Sounds is. Like this is turning into a really nice brewery area, for sure.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I'm excited. I'm a little cautioned about all these in an area, but we'll see. And there's some bangers there, y'all. There's not, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in shout out to the McFleshmans. I love them. So but yeah, shout out to Volt. This is gonna be really interesting to see how Appleton is really becoming a hub, y'all.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. And also, Joel, you were excited about this interview.
Yeah, yeah. So I know we talked about it previously, but I did get the chance to talk with Scott about Vault 202, the process that's been going into it, what we can expect from it. I definitely hope to get up there sometime after they open. Just seems like it's going to be a really neat setting, really neat building. And I have some some strong faith that Scott's going to have some good beer coming out of that place pretty quickly. I hope. So yeah, Appleton folks, I would be, cautiously optimistic about being pretty excited about this one for sure. I would definitely have this one on my radar and watching for when they open. So if you're in Appleton and you're not following them on Facebook yet, I would go and do that.
Yeah, Scott's history should give us all a
Mm-hmm.
great idea about where we're gonna go with the beer and Vault. Oh, Joel, I think he might have hit something on his thing. Oh, and he took our screen with us too, y'all. Oh, I love when I love the old no, that's not what we no, that's not it. I love these snags that we have, especially live. It keeps us on our toes. Joel's back right here, y'all. He's here. So let me put this back up here while Joel gets back. So yeah. Just very excited about Appleton, y'all, where that's going. And you can see there's gonna, you'll be able to walk to Volt. Yep, and there's Volt right there. So a quick little podcast. You can find that on Spotify and on our website. And then that'll lead you to other links. We are not on Apple yet. I'm working on that. But Spotify, or it'll take you to you can go to our YouTube page too, where you can hear it if you're not on Spotify. So I'm waiting for Joel to get back here, and then we will go to the next item, which is another full opening, y'all, of a new brewery that we've been tracking. It's let's see here. It's Shattered Glass. Um Shattered Glass, y'all, is going to be in. Let's check the map here, y'all. Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, y'all, and you can see I have it here on that. It's that orange beer icon there. As you can see, it's on Beaver Dam Lake. And so it should look right out at the lake there. Should be a nice looking sunset going on. And then you could see y'all right within walking distance, the brown one there is Uga. So if y'all familiar with that area, Uga's there. And Shattered Glass will be right there. Joe, what are you reading into this here with the Shattered Glass news?
So I am reading in that Shattered Glass is going to have several beers for people to taste at Taste of Wisconsin in Beaver Dam later this month. Hey, Fritz, yeah, let's go Appleton Beer Scene. Man, I'm telling you, we've been talking about it now for months, Greg. Appleton Beer Scene on the come up. But yeah, anyway, so Taste of Wisconsin is going to be taking place in Beaver Dam here on the 14th, so a week and a half ish. And Shattered Glass is going to have not one, not two, not three, but 4 beers for people to try. And I went and I actually downloaded, because I'm kind of, a nut job, and I went and downloaded the Taste of Wisconsin app so that way I could go and track and see what they are brewing. And it's an interesting array of beers, as we discussed, Greg. So they have a Kolsch, they have a Hefeweizen, they have a New England IPA, and then they have the Fruit Pizza Sour Ale Berliner Weiss. And I have right here the description from the app. It is inspired by our favorite summertime dessert. The kettled sour Berliner Weiss is aged on strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, tangerine, golden kiwi, and vanilla beans. So there's a lot of flavors. If you want to test your palate and you want to try to pick out each and every one of those fruits, Greg, that would be a good challenge for folks. I think it's fun, especially like this could just be something that they're doing for the festival. Maybe even if it's something they are going to be serving, I like having something fun like this. Like they have a Kolsch, they have a Hefeweizen, they have the IPA. Like they've got stuff that is more typical of a brewery that you would expect to see on a tap list. I love having something fun like this on there, something just completely out of left field, something wacky that you're not probably going to get a lot of people to buy 6-packs of it, but you can bet a lot of folks will probably get it in their flight or even get a half pour of it just to try it.
Maybe it's a look into their brewing philosophy, Joel.
We'll see. We'll see. We don't know.
We got nothing. We got nothing to go by
Nope.
with that.
This is what we got. This is what we got, Greg.
We will be trying to reach out to them, y'all, and get a bigger picture about what's going on, because we tried to reach out to almost all of these to get a bigger picture. But yeah, the Fruit Pizza Sour Ale thing is piqued my interest for sure.
Yep. And again, as you were hinting at, this is another one that it's going to be right there on Beaver Dam Lake. Looking at like the street views, this is another one going to be right there on the water, going to be gorgeous. And as you mentioned, right there next to Uga, assuming that this hopefully will be a really nice 1-2 punch for the community there.
Well, Uga's already a good one punch.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if Shattered Glass can make some solid beer, then you're really talking about Beaver Dam cooking with fire there. So
there you go. Yes, sir.
So we were just talking about this at Lager and Friends about how we hardly ever talk about the big boys, because the big boys are normally not doing things like, oh, it's not a brand new brewery. Oh, they're not usually like Lakefront isn't opening a new tap room. Well, we talked about New Glarus's expansion when it was first announced. We showed you all the pretty renderings because they were some nice renderings. I love a good rendering, Greg. But we actually have some real pictures now of the progress. And they were not on New Glarus's own Facebook page, but it was, so if you go to Keller Inc., their Facebook page there was a lot more pictures than just these. I just picked a couple to throw on here. But yeah, they are, they're putting in these concrete towers, redoing the full new main entrance, putting in new foundations, the new brew hall. I mean, it's just going to be, it says here then one of our visitors will be crossing a sky bridge that leads into the new brew hall and like the state of the art new brewing facilities. They're still adding the distillery stuff. Once this becomes official, I think we're going to have to take a Badger Beer Report field trip. Because this is going to become, as I said, one of the best craft beer destination breweries in the country, easily. easily.
Oh.
Yeah. No, and I'm not saying that because I mean, right no, and I'm not saying that because I mean, right now, I think like you talk about like the Sierra Nevada outside of Asheville, North Carolina, places like that, like that's considered to be one of the gold standards. A place like Jester King with the huge expansive farm outside of Austin, those are places that people think of. And New Glarus already had some of that, but as we've talked before, they didn't have a typical taproom experience to speak of, and they are now rectifying that in a big way. And this is going to be stunning. I'm just calling it now, Greg. I'm going to put my stick my neck out. This is going to be amazing, and I just want to know what are your thoughts on this, on seeing some of the real progress now that it's not just renderings.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I thought you were going to say Wisconsin, but when you said the country, it kind of makes sense. If you do that, because I've been to that one that you talked about in North Carolina, and it's just mind-blowingly amazing. And I think we have something like that coming here.
Yep.
There's not much to say, but we will keep an eye. Not much more to say than what Joel said. And we'll obviously keep an eye on it. And this is going to be one of our bigger ones coming down here in a couple years. And yes, we will do what we can to get on the ground there immediately. Soon after, if not before, or whenever they let the rest of the press in, because we are press people. So it's always fun to talk about New Glarus when we can.
Yeah, and I mean, and I just was reading this again. Besides the taste room and distillery being added, they're also going to have a theater and a museum. So I mean, this is going to be like a full day experience. It sounds like almost that you could go take in at New Glarus. I'm hoping they're going to be able to celebrate this. I'm hoping you're going to have a lot of cool like artifacts and knowledge, like learning more about New Glarus Brewing and the whole story behind it for people visiting.
Amen.
So another quick update, another shout out for the podcast. We do not have any true updates for Dew City.
We do the podcast.
Yes, we do. Is it Dew? I can never remember. And I asked him it's Dew. Okay. And I was able to interview Paul, had a great conversation with him, opening up the brewery way on the other side of the state in Prairie du Chien. So I think they got some cool stuff going on there. Definitely tune in and listen. They are, they've got some beer. They've been doing some tastings there in Prairie du Chien. So if you're in that area, go to their Facebook page and follow it, because they probably will, I would guess. I think they've got some more of those that'll be coming up this summer if you want to go and try their beer out before their tap room officially opens.
Yeah, and I've talked to Paul too, and you can just feel the excitement through the podcast, but you can also feel the excitement through the man's voice about how he's just happy about what he's doing and what they're doing. So that kind of energy jumps off, and I'm just excited about this one. And y'all, it's a 30-minute listen. Quick hit that one, y'all. You can do that probably on the way to work. Really, really get the details. And it's going to be, I think this is going to be a destination too, because Prairie du Chien is just a beautiful area for anybody to explore if you have not been there already.
Yep, right there on the Mississippi River, and it's going to be right downtown too, so you'll be walking distance to some other little shops and restaurants and such.
And a place we've been already is things to keep an eye on.
Yes, so things to keep an eye on again. We'll be adding a couple of the ones that we talked about today to this graphic for next time. I'm hoping to hear, play, like, I think some of these, like Foxtown, Derriere, Ope, I'm not expecting to hear anything super soon about that. But ones to keep our eye on for sure. Radix, Gravity Box, Hop Yard, Tailwinds, I'm thinking those will be the ones that we maybe hear from. I still have no idea when we will hear anything about Mobcraft or Bull Falls for that matter. But yeah, still a lot of balls in the air right now. I'm checking this stuff every day on all these breweries to try to make sure to keep track on all of everything, so I can keep you, all the listeners, as up to date as possible. And with that, here is the current numbers. I did just update these. Oh, Greg, what do you got to add there?
No, if you can go back. No worries. Chris is trying to talk to the people of Mobcraft, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully we can get that. Gravity Box should be soon, because it's supposed to be the summer. So that one I'm suspecting soon ideas, y'all. And I'm sniffing around Empty Bottle, y'all. They're kind of close to me, and we'll see about that. And then yeah, I would, Bull Falls. I would kind of like,
Who
let's
knows?
just wait for that one. Who knows? Actually, who knows? It could come out tomorrow. Hey, we're opening, or it could be like, yo, we ain't trying to do this until next year. So who knows? Let's
Yeah.
just keep. But it's just fun that it's actually going. It's actually fun that there's going to be a brewery in that space. How about that?
Yeah.
So that being said, Joel, yeah, you were going to say something about the number of breweries we still have, which is really healthy.
Yeah, well, I mean, and this is I updated these numbers for total breweries, the additional locations, and the others. So sitting overall at 262 with 209 of the individual breweries. We'll hopefully be adding a couple here in the coming months, which will be nice. Continue to tick up. I think we'll be pushing. If I wanted to say ticking up towards 300, but we'd have a ways to go before that. But either way, I am think with all things considered, how we've talked about how 2024 ended, some pretty good things coming out of the state. I know we've updated these maps here, things that have either already opened or have been announced here in Wisconsin. You can see there is a lot of different logos there on the map, and a couple more logos getting added here on the closings as well, but still not near as many. I did add obviously Bloomer there, and I did include Roundman, although I include that because we were kind of not sure about the whole situation, but that may be one that we have to revisit and take off if they still kind of have their own space in a way. So yeah.
Also about round man, I don't know. I don't know. This could be. They didn't say it explicitly, but sometimes I like to read into things, and this could be, they could actually just be maybe moving to another tap room. Now, I didn't say that
Yeah.
explicitly, but maybe they don't want
This is a
to.
temporary thing.
Well, that maybe they don't want to promise something that they may not be able to deliver. So y'all know how this is about permits and leases and all kinds of
Mm-hmm.
different things. So let's just, I'm going to take what they say at face value, but I'm going to read into a little bit too and say, hey, maybe there's some other big things that may happen with them. So
Yep.
keep that in mind. So with that being said, Joel,
Yeah.
we're going to get out of here. Look, y'all, I don't know what the way the news has been rolling in. It looks like the brewery report's going to be going at least 2 times a month until it slows down. And I don't know when it's going to slow down. Joel and I think it's going to slow down every time we hit end, and then it just starts accumulating. So we'll probably see you in 2 weeks, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, we'll see you when we see you. But also, on the outro here, you'll see that we still have Lager and Friends as our sponsor. We hope we had a really good time. Let's quick shout out to that. We had a really good time. Our Dosh beer is really excellent,
Really,
y'all.
really good.
And we will let y'all know on our social medias when the rest of that's going to be released, because there's still some out there. And also, the credits are going to say this year, but just prepare for next year, man. To go to Lager and Friends, it's usually the last weekend in May, or at least it's been for a while. So y'all can almost pencil that in the last weekend of May. Lager and Friends in Milwaukee, probably on Vienna Avenue, but y'all can stay tuned. But we just want to shout them out because it was just a great event, and Joel and I had fun hanging out. One of the 4 times now, or 2 times now, we've hung out, and it's going to be 3, I believe, this Saturday.
No,
So
because we also did when we brewed. Yeah, so it's been at least 3.
cheers. Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to be 4
Yeah.
this Saturday. So
Yes, that's what I was
we're
about to
going,
lead into. If it,
yeah,
is that
we're going
if
to
you
the
are Wisconsin and Beer Lovers Festival here in Glendale, my hometown, at Bavarian at the Heidelberg Park. So yeah, if you are going to the Wisconsin and Beer Lovers Festival, where there is going to be not only beer samples, but distilleries, food, I believe wineries, all sorts of stuff. I know there's going to be music. So if you are planning on going there, keep an eye out. Greg and I are we're pretty hard to miss. If you can probably spot us from a little ways away. So if you see us, come over and say hi. We're going to be talking to a whole bunch of brewers and owners, hopefully. But yeah, unless you got something else, Greg, I was going to say, whether it's where you're visiting or where you're living, be sure to drink local everywhere.